Reading furnishes the mind only with materials of knowledge. It is thinking that makes what we read ours. I have always thought the actions of men the best, interpreters of their thoughts. New opinions are always suspected and usually opposed, without any other reason but because they are not common. The only defense against the world is a thorough knowledge of it. We are like chameleons. We take our hue and the color of our moral character from those who are around us. Parents wonder why the streams are bitter when they themselves poison the fountain. Education begins the gentleman, but reading good company him. Reflection must finish him. Being all equal and independent, no one ought to harm another in his life, health, liberty, or possessions. To love truth for truth's sake is the principal part of human perfection in this world and the seed plot of all other virtues. Revolt is the right of the people. No man's knowledge here can go beyond his experience. There is frequently more to be learned from the unexpected questions of a child than the discourses of men. The Bible is one of the greatest blessings bestowed by God on the children of man. It is God for its author, salvation for its end, and truth without any mixture for its matter. It is all pure, all sincere, nothing too much, nothing wanting. So that, in effect, religion, which should most distinguish us from beasts and ought most peculiarly to elevate us as rational creatures above brutes, is that wherein men often appear most irrational and more senseless than beasts themselves. To prejudge other men's notions before we have looked into them is not to show their darkness, but to put out our own eyes. All wealth is the product of labor. The great question which, in all ages, has disturbed mankind and brought on them the greatest part of their mischiefs, has been not whether deep power in the world, nor whence it came, but who should have it. Our business here is not to know all things, but those which concern our conduct. What worries you masters you? Reverie is when ideas float in our mind without reflection or regard of the understanding. Few men think, yet all will have opinions, hence men's opinions are superficial and confused. A sound mind and a sound body is a short, but full description of a happy state in this world. He that has these two has little more to wish for, and he that wants either of them will be little better for anything else. Men being, as has been said, by nature all free, equal and independent, no one can be put out of this estate and subjected to the political power of another without his own consent. One unerring mark of the love of truth is not entertaining any proposition with greater assurance than the proofs it is built upon will warrant. Fortitude is the guard and support of the other virtues. New opinions are always suspected and usually opposed, without any atherism, but because they are not already common. Whosoever will list himself under the banner of Christ must, In the first place, and above all things, make war upon his own lusts and vices, it is in vain for any man to usurp the name of Christian without holiness of life, purity of manners, benignity and meekness of spirit. Nothing is in the intellect that was not first in the senses. There are 1,000 ways to wealth, but only one way to heaven. No peace and security among mankind, let alone common friendship, can ever exist as long as people think that governments get their authority from God and that religion is to be propagated by force of arms. In transgressing the law of nature, the offender declares himself to live by another rule, and that of reason and common equity. Ch. 2:8. Personal identity depends on consciousness, not on substance. The most precious of all possessions is power over ourselves. It is ambition enough to be employed as an under labor in clearing the ground a little, and removing some of the rubbish which lies in the way to knowledge. Who are we to tell anyone what they can or can't do? For it will be very difficult to persuade men of sense that he who with dry eyes and satisfaction of mind can deliver his brother to the executioner to be burnt alive, does sincerely and heartily concern himself to save that brother from the flames of hell in the world to come. A man is not permitted without censure to follow his own thoughts in the search of truth when they lead him ever so little out of the common road. Now I appeal to the consciences of those who persecute, wound, torture, and kill other men on the excuse of religion, whether they do this in a spirit of friendship and kindness. It is therefore worthwhile to search out the bounds between opinion and knowledge, and examine by what measures in things whereof we have no certain knowledge we ought to regulate our assent and moderate our persuasions. The end of law is not to abolish or restrain, but to preserve and enlarge freedom. Business of man is to be happy